A fisherman casts his net into the ocean and pulls out something science had declared extinct for 65 million years. A group of farmers dig a well looking for water, and underneath their feet, they uncover an entire ghost army, over 8,000 soldiers buried for more than 2,000 years. An oil company sends a deep-sea robot down to scan for fuel reserves, and that robot stumbles onto something that could rewrite ancient history. None of these discoveries were planned. No genius scientist set out with a brilliant theory. No multi-million-dollar expedition was funded to find these things. Every single one of them happened by accident. Today we're breaking down 4 of the most insane historical discoveries ever found completely by chance. And stick around for number 2, it's one of the least talked about finds on this list. And it might be the most mind-blowing of them all. Let's get into it. And if you're into mystery and hidden history, stay until the end, because every story on this list tops the last one. Lake Michigan. Just another day for Dr. Mark Holley. Holley was an underwater archaeologist, and his actual job was hunting for shipwrecks. Lake Michigan has thousands of sunken ships scattered across its floor, and his team was out there with sonar equipment, mapping them one by one. But during a routine scan, something strange showed up on the screen. It wasn't a ship. It was rocks, but not just scattered rocks. These were arranged in a straight line, leading toward a circular formation. Holley was confused. Underwater, this kind of precise geometric arrangement doesn't happen naturally, but it also didn't look like the ruins of some ancient building. And then, divers reported something even stranger on one of the stones. There appeared to be a carving, possibly resembling some kind of animal. The media ran with it instantly. Michigan's Stonehenge. People lost their minds. Was this some kind of ancient religious site? Did America have its own version of England's Stonehenge, hiding underwater the entire time? But the truth turned out to be even more fascinating than the myth. When researchers dug into the geological history, they found something incredible. The area now covered by Lake Michigan was dry land roughly 9,000 years ago. After the last ice age, as the glaciers melted, this whole region gradually flooded. So if this was dry land 9,000 years ago, people could have lived here. And that's where the real twist comes in. This Stonehenge-looking structure was actually what archaeologists call a driveline. Ancient hunters couldn't just walk up and shoot a caribou. These animals were fast, alert, and impossible to approach directly. So hunters came up with a smart strategy. They built long lines of stones that would funnel caribou into a narrow path where other hunters would be waiting in ambush. This exact hunting technique has been found in other parts of the world. Similar drive lines exist in Arctic Canada. But finding one in Lake Michigan confirms something huge. Humans were living in North America far earlier than we ever assumed. Think about it. Dr. Holley was just out there looking for shipwrecks. He had zero intention of uncovering a 9,000-year-old hunting strategy from right after the Ice Age ended. One accidental sonar scan, and an entire chapter of human history had to be rewritten. But this was just the beginning. Because if something this significant can hide underwater in a lake, imagine what's hiding in the depths of the ocean. The Mediterranean Sea. This time there wasn't a single archaeologist involved. This story starts with a British oil and gas company. A company called Energean was doing what oil companies do, searching the seafloor for oil and gas reserves. To do this, they used a deep-sea robot, what's officially known as an ROV, or remotely operated vehicle. This robot descended into the water not just a little ways down, but over a mile deep, a depth where sunlight doesn't reach, where the pressure is so intense it would crush a human being in seconds without the right equipment. The robot was doing exactly what it was built for, scanning for oil deposits, when its cameras caught something completely unexpected. Jars. Dozens of ancient clay vessels known as Canaanite jars, sitting on the ocean floor, perfectly arranged, almost like someone had placed them there yesterday. But this wasn't yesterday. This shipwreck, according to researchers, was roughly 3,300 years old, dating back to the late Bronze Age, around the time of the Egyptian pharaohs. And here's the detail that makes this so historically massive. This wreck was found at a depth of over 1.6 kilometers, nearly a mile down in the middle of the open sea, not anywhere near a coastline. Normally, Ancient sailors stuck close to the coast. They navigated by sight, using landmarks, because they didn't have a compass or GPS. Losing sight of land usually meant getting lost forever. But this ship sank in the middle of the open ocean, which means these sailors were deliberately traveling far beyond the coastline. This is one of the strongest pieces of evidence we have that even 3,300 years ago, ancient civilizations had advanced enough navigation knowledge to cross open water using stars, currents, and dead reckoning, not just hugging the shore. This ship was basically the ancient version of a cargo liner crossing the sea with zero modern technology, relying purely on skill and experience. And think about why it stayed hidden for so long. At over a mile deep, there's no current strong enough, no fisherman, no treasure hunter who could ever reach it. That depth turned it into a perfectly preserved time capsule. And the wildest part? This discovery happened because an oil company was looking for profit. Energen gained zero commercial benefit from this. They reported the find to archaeologists, and the wreck is now being studied without being touched because its extreme depth is exactly what's kept it protected for over 3,000 years. A robot built to find oil ended up uncovering one of the greatest navigation secrets of the ancient world. But if the depths of the ocean can hide secrets this old, can life itself hide secrets just as ancient? December 1938. East London, South Africa. Just another day for a fishing trawler crew. Captain Hendrik Goosen brought in his daily catch like he did every day. But this time, there was something in the nets that nobody on that crew had ever seen before. A 5-foot-long steel blue fish. But the color wasn't even the strangest part. Its fins weren't normal fish fins. They were thick, lobe-shaped, almost leg-like, as if this fish could actually walk. Captain Goosen knew this was something different, so he reported it to a local museum curator named Marjorie Courtenay-Latimer. When Marjorie saw the fish, she was stunned. She had never seen anything like it, not in any book, not in any museum collection. She sent it to a fish expert and ichthyologist named J.L.B. Smith. And when Dr. Smith finally laid eyes on it, his reaction was something close to seeing a ghost. Because this fish, the coelacanth, was a species scientists believed had gone extinct 65 million years ago. That's the exact same time period the dinosaurs disappeared. Up until this point, the coelacanth was only known from fossils, ancient impressions pressed into rock. Scientists were certain this species died out alongside the dinosaurs. This is where the idea of a living fossil comes from, a creature that hasn't evolved in millions of years. Almost like time just stopped for it. Imagine being Dr. Smith in that moment. It's the equivalent of someone telling you a T-Rex is still walking around in the jungle somewhere, just hiding really well. Dr. Smith announced this discovery to the world, and it sent shockwaves through the scientific community. It became one of the biggest zoological discoveries of the 20th century. And here's the kicker: scientists later found out the coelacanth wasn't alone. In 1952, a second population was discovered near the Comoros Islands, and it turns out local fishermen there already knew this fish existed the entire time. They had their own name for it. The scientific world just had no idea. This gives us a pretty humbling lesson. Science can be wrong about calling something extinct until there's actual proof that nothing survived. A fisherman's ordinary catch, and the world found out the age of the dinosaurs wasn't entirely over. A few survivors had been hiding in the deep ocean the whole time, but as wild as that was, our last story might be the biggest accidental discovery in history. March 1974, Xi'an Village, China. The region was in the middle of a severe drought. Water was scarce. A group of local farmers decided to dig a new well, hoping to find water for their crops. Their goal was simple survival. They needed crops to eat, and they needed water for the crops. As they dug deeper, their tools hit something. They figured it was probably an old clay pot, but when they looked closer, it was a human face, made of clay, life-sized. The farmers were terrified. Some thought they'd stumbled onto a cursed site. Local authorities were notified, and when archaeologists finally arrived, what they uncovered changed history as we know it. This wasn't just one statue. It was an entire army, over 8,000 soldiers, along with horses, chariots, and weapons, all made of clay, all life-sized. And here's the most incredible part, every single soldier had a different face. No two soldiers were identical. Different facial structures, different expressions, different hairstyles and armor based on rank. The detail was so precise that many historians believe these figures were modeled after real soldiers. So who was this army built for? Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, the man who unified China into a single nation around 210 BCE. This emperor was so terrified of death that he spent a massive portion of his reign preparing for the afterlife. He ordered an entire clay army to be built around his tomb so it could protect him in the next world. Think about the scale of this. Historians estimate that over 700,000 workers were involved in this project. This wasn't just a tomb, it was an entire underground empire, complete with soldiers, officials, acrobats, and animals, all prepared to accompany the emperor into his next life. And here's the most mysterious detail of all. The emperor's actual tomb, where his body is believed to rest, has never been opened. The Chinese government has decided not to disturb it until preservation technology advances enough to do it safely. So this entire army, now a World Heritage Site visited by millions of people every year, started because a group of farmers just wanted to dig a well for water. They had no idea that beneath their feet, for over 2,000 years, an emperor's ghost army had been silently waiting. 4 discoveries, 4 different continents, 4 different centuries, but they all share one thing in common. Nobody was looking for any of them. An archaeologist was just scanning for shipwrecks. An oil company was just chasing profit. A fisherman just brought in his daily catch. And a group of farmers just wanted water for their crops. It makes you wonder, how many more secrets is this planet still hiding? We only know the history that's accidentally found its way to the surface. Imagine how much is still down there, waiting. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're into mind-blowing history and science stories like this, subscribe to the channel. We drop content like this every week. And let me know in the comments, out of these 4 discoveries, which one shocked you the most? The hidden hunting line under Lake Michigan, the ancient shipwreck in the deep sea, the extinct fish that wasn't, or the emperor's ghost army? See you in the next video with another unsolved mystery. Until then, thanks for watching.